Hey everyone, how's it going? This is Ben here from Instillment. Today I got something special for you. I'm going to be quickly running through realistic props to use in movies, and the example I'm going to use today is some of the props that I used in our short film, the award-winning Orders. Now, if you haven't seen this short film, it was for the My Road Reel competition, and we ended up winning Best Action Short. So that was an awesome accomplishment for us. A really cool thing about that short was our props. We invested a lot of money into props that would look very, very cool on camera and also pretty realistic. I'm going to run through a few of these, explain the benefits of using them as opposed to cheap little plastic stuff that you can get at like a dollar store. And I'm also going to tell you why it is not a good idea to film outside with these props unless you're away from view from society or you're on private property with owner's permission. Now, I just want to start off this video by saying I do not condone the use of any of these weapons in an uncontrolled environment. All the props I'm about to show you look like real firearms, but they are not. They are called airsoft weapons, which are basically BB guns. They shoot little plastic pellets, which yes, can leave a bruise, but they cannot kill you. However, these guns do look almost exactly the same as their real-world counterparts, and you should not take these out in public for obvious reasons. Now, let's get into the video. My hero sidearm in the shoot was this. This is a replica of the Colt M1911. It is very realistic. It is made completely out of metal for the exception of the grips. It runs on a small CO2 cylinder that basically means it functions like a real weapon. The slide racks back like a real weapon when it's empty, and when you shoot, it does the same. A ton of short filmmakers and just filmmakers in general use these as realistic props. Here we have another example of another sidearm. This is a Sig Sauer P226, and again, the same thing. It is a gas blowback weapon, so it functions exactly like a regular firearm would, except this time instead of CO2, it runs on propane, which you actually insert just like you would if you're refilling a lighter. They are decently cheap, relatively speaking. You can pick one of these up for about $200 Canadian. And again, this is full metal. This one we actually painted for the sake of how we wanted this sidearm to look. This, again, is another airsoft gun. This is electric powered, so unfortunately you do not have the added realism of having the bolt rack back on its own. However, for rifles, you can kind of get away with that, as you could just animate in After Effects a shell getting ejected out of the ejection port. If you want to see a video on how to do that, let me know in the comments in this video. But again, this is a replica of a slightly modified M4. This was my primary weapon in Orders. This is polymer. The benefit to finding a polymer prop gun like this is that they are a lot cheaper and they still get the point across, and this still looks like a convincing weapon. They're almost equal to the real weight of the real weapons in the real world. So that's an added bonus for your actors as well. They feel like they're not just holding a toy gun from the dollar store, they're actually holding. And last but not least, the uniform. This is called a BDU, or a battle dress uniform. It's not so quite a replica as it is just a reimagining of a real battle dress uniform used in military forces. This one has kind of a cool, like, Canadian woodlands green digital camo look that I personally liked. And for this short film, we actually picked out the camo that each of us liked. We didn't really want it to be like a, hey, let's all wear the same uniform type of thing, because at the end it's revealed that we are actually characters being played by kids in a VR world. So if that was the case, we figured then they would be customizing their own characters, hence why we all had different uniforms. You can find these uniforms just about anywhere. Army surplus stores are scattered basically in every city that you could possibly imagine, so there's probably one near you or in the next city over from you. And the last prop I'm going to display today is this flak vest. This looks like a convincing military flak vest, or a bulletproof vest, or a Kevlar vest, whatever you want to call this. It includes pouches for magazines and all your other equipment, and it really puts the cherry on top if you're wearing a battle dress uniform to make yourself look convincing for an action short film. Now, going back to the safety of all this, you may have noticed one thing about all of these guns after I've just been preaching that they look super realistic. None of them have orange tips. Usually with toy guns, you see that a lot of these weapons have shabby paint jobs and are always accompanied by an orange tip or an entire orange barrel, or you may have even seen the ones in Canadian Tire, for example, that have clear bodies, clear plastic. Now, believe it or not, these are not legally required to have an orange tip in Canada. However, airsoft guns like this are legally supposed to have an orange tip in the United States. That is a very weird statement considering that our actual gun laws are so strict, especially now with the ban of assault-style weapons in Canada just this past week. So a lot of people are concerned from time to time that because of our lax gun laws on replica weapons like this, that they could easily be mistaken for real firearms, which they have in many cases before, leading to a charge, or in some terrible cases, a person or a kid being shot because he had one of these and was waving it around in the street and his neighbor thought it was a real gun. Do some more safety research, have fun, and make your next short film super realistic. And again, if you want to see how to make muzzle flash effects or bullet ejection effects or blood hit effects like you saw in our short film Orders, let me know in the comments. And let me know if you want to see the plethora of other props the Instillment team has and some of the cool stuff we've used in our previous short films. We'll see you next time. Thanks for tuning in.